Well, I'm Jenny Johnson. I am the immediate past president of ITS Georgia. Our president, Winter Horrible, is not able to attend today, so I am filling in for her. It's hard to believe that this is the 4th month of hosting our monthly meetings virtually. We have actually not met in person since our February meeting on Georgia Tech's campus. But listen up later on for an opportunity to meet up in person beginning in August. I hope that you all have managed to remain safe and healthy during this time. ITS Georgia is continuing to push forward during these times and is continuing to work together to make decisions regarding our future meetings. Please provide us grace as we move through this world of uncertainty as things are changing on a daily basis. I want to announce that we are still having a need for laptops for our students throughout the state, and even more now that schools are starting the year again as digital learning only. As mentioned in our previous meetings, we have teamed up with the Boys and Girls Club and are being updated frequently by them on some of the technology needs throughout our local community. We are still taking donations, and you can go on our website, and with just one click, you can help a child in our community to have the same technological advantages as a lot of our own kids do. At this time, we are, like I mentioned earlier, moving forward with an in-person component for our meeting on Tuesday, August 25th. Please note that it is a Tuesday. We normally meet on the last Wednesday of the month, but this is going to be a Tuesday, where we will have several GDOT staff discussing some of the new technologies that they are piloting, directly connecting with the drivers. So they will share some of the preliminary results for those connected vehicle technologies and how they think it's going to change traffic operations in the future. The venue is actually City Springs, and we are working with them directly just to make sure that we're adhering to the current guidelines. Be on the lookout for an e-blast for registration. In order to maintain social distancing, registration is going to be limited. So if you are wanting to participate, please be sure to register as soon as you see that e-blast come through. There will be a virtual component to that as well for those that are not able to attend with us quite yet in person. The annual meeting, ITS Georgia annual meeting, registration opened up last Friday on the 24th. You all should have gotten an e-blast with those details. The in-person, we are going to have an in-person component to the annual meeting, and it's going to be held at the Westin on beautiful Jekyll Island. It's beachfront this time. It's a beautiful venue. The dates for the event are Sunday, September 27th through Tuesday, September 29th. Again, in order to maintain social distancing and all of those guidelines, registration will be limited. First come, first serve. So go ahead and register. I do know that if you register for in-person and then later on are not able to attend for some reason, you are able to either donate that registration money to our Boys and Girls Club, the technology fundraiser that we're doing, or you can apply that to a virtual component. So there are some options if you run into some troubles later on the in-person registration. Our annual meeting chair for this year is Dino Pimpolino with Jacob. So thank you to him and his firm and all of the countless volunteers that are helping. If you want to help out, let us know. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to him. October monthly meeting, also looking at an in-person component going back to City Springs. We'll be discussing EV demand. This is actually, it's going to be a joint meeting with Georgia ITE. And then lastly, in November, we do plan on having our annual awards banquet again. So be on the lookout. Nominations for the awards should be opening pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. And then in December, tentatively, we're trying to see if we can get in a technical training of some sort. So lots of exciting things happening. Just be on the lookout for e-blasts, and always you can visit our website. I want to thank all of you for, again, tuning in to our July meeting. Today we have a panel actually with a few of the local governments. We have Peggy with DeKalb County, Keith with Clayton County, and Alex with Gwinnett County, who have stepped up to the plate to work with us to present in this virtual format and discuss maintaining signal and ITS infrastructure. We also have Tom Udell, our chapter vice president, who works with Jacobs, who will be moderating. And I cannot give enough thanks to show my appreciation for our ITS Georgia board and volunteers for guiding our organization through these uncertain times. And a huge shout out to Winter Horrible, our chapter president. She's done it so much for behind the scenes for this organization this year with just all the moving pieces and all that. So next time you see her, which is hopefully sooner than later, just tell her thank you for everything that she's doing for us to make sure that we still have somewhat of a normal and a successful year at ITS Georgia. Last but not least, I want to present this month's sponsor, as we cannot keep these monthly meetings going without you all. A big thank you to Maldonado and Burkett for sponsoring today's monthly meeting. We actually have Ramon on the line. I'm going to kick it off to him, but we have him and his team. We just want to thank you for your continued support of ITS Georgia, and we look forward to hearing about you. So I'll let him take it over from here.
Thanks, Jenny. Good afternoon. My name is Raymond Maldonado with Maldonado Burkett. We're a new DBE in Georgia. We originated here in Austin, Texas. We started out in 2007. Currently, we're up to about 100 in staff. 65 of those, which are engineers and technicians, professional engineers, engineering technicians. We are currently certified as in traffic operations studies, which is 3.06, 3.07 traffic operations design, 3.09 traffic control systems, and 3.15 highway lighting. We're also registered as a DBE in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, and Louisiana. Just some projects that we have here in Texas. We've done some TSMO projects, currently on a TSMO contract. We're running 2 TMC, or assisting rather, in running some TMC operations in Fort Worth and City of Austin. We also have a construction and maintenance group that we have down in South Texas. We've done numerous design builds here in Texas. We're also in Georgia. We're currently on a team with DTS and AECOM for GDOT's statewide ITS maintenance construction project that's going on. We're also on the I-85 widening phase 2 design build with CW Matthews and ICE. We're also on the District 6 RTSO project with ECOM. Just to give you all a little bit of background, we specialize here in Texas, as obviously in Georgia, we've specialized and started the business doing ITS and illumination and signals. We also do traffic studies. We've done traffic counts and numerous other types of studies as well. So we do offer other types of engineering, but our main focus here is traffic engineering. But we've been very fortunate to work with some of your groups in Georgia that we've dealt with here. We've done work with Jacobs, AECOM, WSP, Kinley Horn, and I'm hoping we'll get to build some of those relationships with y'all in Georgia as well. So I appreciate the opportunity to be invited to these events, and I hope y'all are safe, and we look forward to meeting you in person. I guess with that, I'll pass it over to Jenny, and thank you all for your time. Stay safe.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So now I am going to introduce our moderator for today's meeting, who will then go ahead and introduce our panel speakers. Our moderator is Tom Udell. Mr. Udell has more than 24 years of experience providing traffic and transportation engineering services on a wide variety of projects. He holds a BCE and MSCE from Georgia Tech. Mr. Udell spent 12 years as the Deputy Public Works Director, responsible for traffic operations for the city of Johns Creek, Georgia. He completed the ITS network, traffic control center, and signal upgrades citywide. He has also been responsible for minor geometric, safety, and operational improvements that have benefited the citizens of the city. He currently provides public works and traffic engineering expertise for all of the Jacobs Municipal Services clients. He is married to Lauren and has 3 children, with 2 in college. Catherine, a Georgia Tech grad, EAS 2019, Grayson at GCU, and Brian at KSU. And with that, I will kick it over to Mr. Udell.
Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm the person she just talked about. I'm happy to introduce 3 speakers. This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart, as being a maintenance and operations engineer for Jacobs. I think this is an underrepresented subject and something that needs a little bit more of our attention. So I'll just do quick introductions. From DeKalb County, we have Miss Peggy Allen. I think she needs no introduction, but we'll do it anyway. Ms. Allen received her Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering from the University of Alabama at Tuscaloosa. She's taken engineering refresher courses from Georgia Tech, has completed 9 courses from FEMA Emergency Management Institute in the National Incident Management. She continues taking educational courses in her field. Ms. Allen has worked in federal, state, and local government for more than 35 years, holding various public works, engineering, and management positions in Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. Her areas of expertise are civil, transportation, construction, traffic engineering, and stormwater management. She currently serves as the Deputy Director of Public Works for DeKalb County, Georgia. During her career, she designed and implemented 3 bus rapid transit traffic signal priority control projects, one of which includes the construction of queue jumper lanes, the first of its kind in the region, and it just received the Outside the Box Award from the ITS Intelligent Transportation Society for project innovation. Ms. Allen's a member of the APWA, American Public Works Association, ITE, ITS, NACWA, National Association of Clean Water Agencies, ASCE, and IMSA. Ms. Allen has authored and published numerous technical papers and reports which have been published in national and international engineering magazines. She's the author of 2 books. Her second book, The Pecan Orchard, can be found in libraries worldwide and is also being used as a textbook for women's history and African American history courses. Allen is very active in her community, mentoring young students and young engineering professionals seeking to improve their knowledge and skills. She was awarded the 2020 Top 10 Leader of the Year from the APWA. In 2015, she received the APWA Georgia Chapter Manager of the Year Award. And in 2018, she was awarded the Project of the Year Award for the Bus Rapid Transit Project. And in her spare time, which if you can believe she has any spare time.
Tom, you're muted. You got muted at spare time.
Unmute. Who muted me? In her spare time, she enjoys writing and winemaking. So there we go. From Gwinnett County, we have Mr. Alex Hofelich. Alex graduated from Georgia Tech with a Bachelor of Civil Engineering in 1998. He is a professional traffic operations engineer with 20 years of experience in and around Gwinnett in a variety 20 years experience in and around Gwinnett in a variety of settings, including municipal and county agencies, public, private government solutions, and private consulting. I've run into Alex in way more places than just Gwinnett, so he's been around a little bit. From Clayton County, we have Mr. Keith Rowling. Keith graduated from Georgia Tech in, should I say? Okay, 1983, the day after his daughter was born. He started with GDOT in 1984 in construction and moved to maintenance, and then spent the last 14 years in traffic operations as the district traffic engineer for District 3 in Thomaston. He left in 2005 to join the evil private sector with me. Full disclosure. And then the economy apparently tanked. Since 2010, Keith has been the Assistant Director for Transportation and Development in Clayton County. So this is your story group. We're going to have some nice conversation here, discuss their operations. I just wanted to start out with a little bit of a background. For those of you that know Eddie Curtis, he had put together a traffic signal benchmarking and state of the practice report. It's kind of hard to find, but he was kind enough to send it to me. And from the executive summary, here's a quick quote. State and local agencies have collectively invested an estimated of 1.22 or $122.4 billion in the planning, design, and construction of signalized intersections. The estimated ongoing annual operation and maintenance expenditure is about 1.23 billion, with an annual capital program investment of 763 million for all of the traffic signals in the United States. So while the focus of most of us is on designing these signals, building the signals, this group is keenly aware of the challenges of maintaining the signals. So I guess as a point of background, I'm going to throw it to each of the presenters to sort of give a lowdown on the inventory that they're responsible for, and then basically the number of staff and what kind of an annual operations budget they have. Peggy, do you want to start?
Sure. Thank you, Tom. In the cab, we have a sizable inventory. Currently, we are operating and maintaining about 587 traffic signals. We have 88 school flashers, 56 beacons, 10 hawks, and of those 587 signals, 15 of them have railroad preemption, and 82 of those signals are equipped with BRT priority. Our staff, as far as engineers, technicians, and our maintenance team, is a group of 33 individuals. Our basic operations, we have an emergency response team that operates 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We have one bench technician, and we do have a formal preventive maintenance plan, as well as a separate preventive maintenance plan for our preemption signals, our railroad preemption signals. Our budget, of course, is never large enough. Our annual operating budget is approximately $3.7 million, and that includes about $800,000 in utility costs. So that's just a quick rundown.
Nice. Okay. Alex, you want to tell us about Gwinnett County?
So Gwinnett County, we've got north of 725. I didn't write down the count, so we just turned on 5 last week, 3 new ones and 2 replacements. So my numbers aren't quite as firm in my head as I'd like. Along with that, we've got over 250 miles of fiber. We've got about 300 CCTV cameras, and then we've got more than 400 flashing beacons of different sorts. 275 of those are school beacons that we've got communications to. So there's also Gwinnett County. We maintain all the signals on the state routes, and we do all the signals inside the cities. And that can't be completed without help from our partners at GDOT with the RTOP program and RITSO, and we're SIGOPS now. So you're muted again, Tom.
Okay, about how big is your staff?
We are just under 30 staff members in the traffic signals and ATMS groups.
Okay. Last but not least, Clayton County. Keith, can you give us a quick rundown of what you're responsible for?
Yeah, we've got 107 miles of traffic fiber that connects to 243 switches, and we've got connectivity to 158 of our 260 traffic signals. We've got 110 IP addressable CCTV cameras out there. We've got another 21 that are still using the old analog and encoder decoder stuff. We also have 63 Bluetooth units and we've got connectivity to 39 of our video detection units that brings the video back to our TCC here. As far as staff goes, we have 14 positions in our traffic signal maintenance and operations section. We've got 6 of those positions that are vacant. So we've got 57% of our staff that are present, which that's what creates a lot of our problems. If it wasn't for GDOT with RTOP and some of the RITSO efforts, it would be very, very difficult to keep our traffic moving.
All right, thanks. So I guess a quick rundown is, you know, there's a lot of folks that are in the design world, don't understand a lot about what goes on the maintenance. When you have your maintenance program, how do you all maintain? I mean, do you have is it software? Is it paper-based? How sophisticated has your, say, work order and work request system developed? And then what kind of response times are you looking at for emergency signal in flash to making requests for signal timing changes that inevitably somebody's going to call in?
Tom, I'll start. I think our emergency response time is pretty quick. Usually within a couple of hours, we'll have a crew on site. Within 1 hour, we typically will have a maintenance technician on site. Within a couple of hours, we will have a crew on site to identify the type of repair as far as the emergency response. You know, in traffic, one thing we know for sure, when Friday night comes, when holidays come, you know, we know about it because somebody's out there drinking and tearing things up. You know, one of the big problems is with timber poles, because, you know, that stuff just goes down fast. So our emergency response is pretty quick in DeKalb. So that's one of the key things that we try to, you know, put our head on.
Yeah, I'd say Gwinnett runs very similar to what DeKalb does. We try and get technician on site within an hour and have identified what we need. If we need to get a generator out there, if it's a power outage, if we need to get a generator out there, have that within a couple of hours so that we can try and minimize the amount of downtime. And yeah, the timber poles are a challenge, because after enough years out in the field, those things they dry out, they get really fragile. It's real easy to drive a Honda Civic straight through them and take the whole thing down.
Our response, it depends on, hopefully, if it's during working hours, our response is better because we try to find those problems before anybody else calls in through our TCC. But after hours, we're within an hour with all of our responses, I believe. From the paperwork I've seen lately, we're within an hour responding with our technicians. However, our technicians are getting sort of burnt out. As you can tell, we're short on technicians, and it means they're on a rotating basis weekly, every 3 to 4 weeks. That's difficult. But one of the things that helped us a lot, and it's been 10, 12 years ago, we started putting in UPS systems, not battery backups, but actual UPS systems. That has, the purpose of that was to filter power, but also to keep power going when you have routine brownouts or outages. That really was beneficial and made possible more often by the implementation of LED signal heads. Some people out there may not realize that we used to have incandescent bulbs in those things years ago.
Some of us still remember, Keith. So you mentioned going through, and this kind of brings up the point. You mentioned going through your traffic control center. How much, when people think of the TMC for GDOT, they think of traffic operations and running traffic and trying to do incident management. How much did that traffic center help you with your operations and maintenance functions, as far as reporting back faults or being able to troubleshoot things remotely prior to getting, sending a crew out?
Well, that's one of the things we've implemented a work order system about a year ago. We're still in the process of doing that, but when the calls come in, they first go to the TCC. The TCC, if they can evaluate and do something, they will. Then they call the technician off of his normal PM duties or whatever he's working on to go respond to that emergency.
Yeah, being able to troubleshoot that stuff remotely, if it's a detection issue, if it's, something else, if we can put a camera on, yes, ped pole's down, it's this corner, we're going to need, this is what we're going to need to load a truck up with to take care of it. We reduce the amount of downtime just, chasing our tail. Using the traffic control center is a great way to kind of enhance and leverage constrained workforces.
And in the cab, I think, our traffic control center plays a big part in our dispatch. Our 911 dispatches during normal business hours, everything to our traffic control center. And so they're the relay and the leg with getting the technician to the site quickly, particularly during normal business hours. So it helps a lot.
So that being said, that's for all of the equipment that can report back. How do y'all handle legacy systems that, you've got a conflict monitor that doesn't have IP, it's not IP addressable. You may not have communications to a remote signal. How do you manage the sort of the two different worlds? One's the connected world, you can go through your TCC. The other is you're back to the 50s with people calling in.
That's true. That's been an issue for us. Typically in cases like that, we have to send a technician or an engineer out to monitor some of the corridors that doesn't have access back to the communication back to the TCC. So that means we have to do regular checks on those corridors to make sure that everything's operating properly. So that's additional time that a technician could be doing something else, that we're actually out there double checking the corridors. But believe it or not, the people who normally drive those routes, when the slightest thing goes wrong, they're calling back and letting us know before we find something. Someone on the route has already identified it and most times can tell you what it is. So the eyes on the road has been, more the citizens bringing stuff back to us before we even find it.
I agree with that. The only thing you can do if you don't have communications is send somebody out. We've got a unit with 4 people in it that are assigned to each commission district that ride the routes routinely to not only find problems with signals, but other problems, potholes, tree limbs down or whatever that we have to maintain. So we're trying to be proactive in finding those things, but it's hard to do without the communications.
Yeah, I echo everything that they said. We're working on a project right now, trying to do something a little creative. It's got state funds. It's going through PDP right now, but it doesn't have a traditional plan set. Trying to do something that's basically a PDP set that's just a spreadsheet where it's, all right, these are the 150 locations that we've got where we need to put a cell router out there and be able to get communications to it. Here's the 500 locations we've got where we don't have IP addressable conflict monitors, and try and get everything that is not connected connected. And we're hoping to start construction on that next year, start doing a whole bunch of parts replacements. And if we can, figure out how to smoothly implement this through PDP, there may be opportunities to do similar things for just parts upgrades for a lot of folks coming in upcoming years.
So with all this maintenance, it's not any good without people. If you don't have the technicians. From in my experience with Johns Creek, I know I stole one of Peggy's people.
Yes, you did.
I think we're poaching back and forth across lines. And what kind of a program has each of the counties set up to try to, maybe a Packers fan, draft and develop is the term, where or do you go out and try to find experienced folks and bring them, and understanding the financial restraints?
Well, in the cab, we're trying a little bit of both. We're trying to recruit some younger folks that hadn't decided yet what they want to do, that's got the minimum experience and the interest in wanting to become signal technicians and things like that. So on the one end, we're trying to get people in like that we can develop, get them through all of the IMSA courses to get them trained. And on the other end, we're trying to go out and if we have older people who are at the end of their careers or changing careers, folks with experience, we're trying to bring some of those people in as well. So we're trying to do a little bit of both in the cap, because one way just doesn't work. So we're trying both angles to see if we can bring more people in, because it's difficult to find people.
All our recruitment has been basically in-house. It's hard to go outside and for what the county stuff can't offer much, but it's hard to go outside and find people. So when we see somebody who has some above average self-motivation and abilities in our public works sector, we tend to rob from that. And we've been able to do that in a couple of different areas and help supplement and hopefully we'll grow those people into good technicians that we can keep, and hopefully nobody else will steal.
Yeah, we've been able to, in the last couple of years, implement a promote in place system, so that we no longer had to wait for some of the higher level technicians to move out or retire before we could go ahead and move people up. Something where we've got a score system, and as you hit these criteria, when you've got your commercial driver's license, when you've got your certain level of IMSA certification, we can go ahead and promote you up to the next rank of technicians. That's something that has helped us out, and we're also really thankful we got a couple more positions added to our group this past year, specifically to try and help deal with preventative maintenance.
Well, that of course begs the question. It's hard to find people. It's hard to train them. How much are each of your organizations invested in privatization, getting contractors in? How much of your operation depends on, for maintenance, emergency on call, communications, repairs, or like timing, getting timing adjustments on hiring contractors and consultants to assist you?
Well, I'll go ahead and kick this one off. We've got a strong partnership with our demand service contractors. We couldn't do everything that we do without being able to kind of have this reach back capability. All of our poles being set are done by a contractor, because having a crane on site is a tough thing for local agencies to have that kind of rolling stock for something that you need to do a handful of times a year. All of our loops are cut by contractors, and we've got a number of construction jobs, and other things that are done. All of our ground preventative maintenance and all of our LED changeouts that are on a recurring cycle. All of those are through a demand services contractor. But they're an enhancement of the staff that we've got that does a lot of the day-to-day operations.
In the cab, we actually, you know, our pole contractors, again, we don't have the ability in-house either to set poles, and you know that type of equipment would sit around idle most of the time. So we do have on-call contractors that help with the setting of poles. With our fiber splicing, the same. We share on-call contractors with our IT folks to do all of our fiber connections and things like that. But loop replacement, construction, you know, we do all of that in-house.
All of our stuff is basically in-house, with the exception of the poles. Like you were saying, you can't afford a vehicle like that to just sit around and put a pole in once every blue moon. We do have a fiber splicing contractor and fiber installation contractor, but we've also got our own splicing machine, which we try to do the quick and the easy ones. And if we have a major break and we need 44 fibers spliced, and we'll bring them in.
And it's critical to also make sure that we mention the additional help from things like the RTOP program, SIGOPS folks, where they're being able to have access to another handful of engineers, and also have them just grab and take the lead on a number of maintenance things on a number of corridors. Having that as kind of an extension of staff as well is critical. We couldn't do what we do without that assistance from the state.
I want to echo that. You know, RTOP's been great with since we maintain signals on state routes as well. Just having that ability to call them up, particularly on a state route, and get their assistance with some of the maintenance items. So that has been a help for us too.
I'll echo all of
that. All right. So again, now how I understand, Ritzo, RTOP, they've been a huge help. They helped me out in Johns Creek a lot. I use them as an additional maintenance. We were doing PMs on all the state routes. We continue to do the PMs, but we just took that as a bonus. How much do y'all rely on GDOT assistance to, one, enhance the maintenance that you're doing, or to just say, you know what, GDOT can take care of that corridor, I can move resources to a different one?
I'll start off with this one. We're short-staffed enough that we're taking whatever we can get from them, and we really do appreciate it, primarily on the timing of those roads. As far as the actual maintenance, they help us out a lot with the equipment replacement and upgrades. They've been doing a lot of the CCTV upgrades and things like that. They provide us the equipment, and we go put it in. That's been a very good partnership with us. But that's a difficult situation to try to handle everything without their help.
Yeah, in Gwinnett, similar sort of lift. It does help that it allows us to direct the focus of our staff a little bit heavier on the corridors that are not assisted by RTOP, and that all may be changing coming up soon. We'll have to kind of relearn the dynamics a little bit, but I expect all the changes will be for the better of all the traveling public.
And in the CAP, we've had similar experiences, and there have been occasions where we could direct resources to another route. But in return, though, sometimes our forces have been able to respond faster to a particular situation than our top. So it's just been a partnership.
So I'm looking, I don't get to see the screen that's on the YouTube, but I'm looking at basically all the squares that everybody's gotten used to on Zoom, the Brady Bunch screen, everybody calls it. And so in terms of the Brady Bunch, if GDOT's Marcia, that means that the counties are Jan. Let's talk about Cindy. How do you guys service and assist us poor municipal folks who have all these needs? And how can you prioritize? I know there's a mix of, some municipalities have their own operation, others are totally managed by the county. What's y'all's experience working with municipalities as far as demands? You got higher densities. Peggy, you've got Decatur. It's kind of a different than the rural signal operations.
Yeah, I think in the CAP, we like you mentioned earlier, we have a mixed bag of everything. We have some municipalities that totally take care of their own, some that we do operation and maintenance, and maybe the city does a little timing, and some the county does everything for them. And what we try to do is treat everyone as family, so to speak, that we're all in this pot together. So our priority is based on emergency response. So we take care of the emergencies first, and then we treat everybody else the same. We treat municipalities like our unincorporated signals, and we maintain everything just based on what's needed at the time. When we do our preventive maintenance, everybody's in the same pot, and we do preventive maintenance on everything, no particular order. So we try to do it that way, so we're not giving Big Brother more or less treatment or than anybody else. So and with that mixed bag in the CAB, we're able to just kind of treat everybody almost like it's all the CAB.
In Clayton,
Go ahead, Keith.
Well, in Clayton, we handle all traffic signals, school flashers, warning flashers for the county, with minor exceptions around the airport, city of Atlanta, and College Park handles a couple up there. So all the other stuff we handle, and it's if they have a request for us to make a change, we just look at it, and if it makes sense, we go do it. And if it doesn't, we tell them, hey, that doesn't make sense. Right now, I've got a left turn phase request into GDOT for the city of Morrow. So we just work together and get it done.
Yeah, in Gwinnett, we're fortunate to have a SPLOS program, and some of that is divided up by the cities. So the cities have their own specific apportionment. And some of the municipalities, if the traffic signals are a focus for them, that's something that they can help allocate a portion of their piece to. And we're, along with the others, we try and make sure that we get good broad coverage. One of the things that we did to try and assist with that is we recently did an exercise looking at the ages of all of our infrastructure, and trying to look at our heat maps on what needs to be replaced when, so that we can try and have kind of a more methodical look at it. And the heat maps are unsurprising. You can see the development patterns. We haven't, there's a lot of signals that benefited from big fast bursts of development because they got replaced as stuff kept expanding. But once development kind of cools down a little bit and slows, you know, there's a lot of those facilities that age in place, and we don't have a roadway project to come in and take them out. So that puts it back on us to try and figure out what we need to do with that. So. You're muted, Tom.
Got a question on the chat line having to do with short staffs. I mean, what do you guys attribute to staffing difficulties?
I think salary is primary. A lot of people don't realize that you're on the side of the road at night, in the rain, in the snow, in the cold, trying to fix multiple computers and have them all work together to do what people expect it to do as far as giving the right of way, so, or assigning the right of way, I should say. I think that's a lot of it. It's a lot of knowledge and understanding to be putting people out there, and then having it all during the any time of the day.
And there's a decent amount of lag with starting anybody up. There aren't schools, there isn't I'm going to go to school and learn how to be a traffic signal technician. It's got a little bit of construction, it's got a little bit of electrician, got a little bit of computer networking, and you know, there's a lot of different pieces that, you know, it isn't really cleanly covered by a training program. So we don't have a good feeder system to come in. A lot of the jurisdictions wind up being the training program for all of the you know, our contractors. Yeah, we love and appreciate them, but it hurts when, you know, they can afford to pay better.
That's true. I agree with both panelists. It's, you know, salary hurts when municipalities really just don't have that salary structure as the private sector. And so we get them and train them up, and then, like Tom said, people steal them.
It was a long time ago.
I know.
So we're trying to keep everything that we have running. We're trying to replace the old parts as they wear out. Do y'all have any kind of have you set up a system to where an asset management system to where you know that you're going to be replacing things after a certain lifespan? Or is it the old school traffic engineers theory of, if, well, the lights are changing, it still must work?
We have a head replacement. That's basically in the signal area. That's the only proactive thing we do is every 8 years, we try to make sure that we replace the signal heads at each signal. So we've been very fortunate. We spend about $130,000 a year of SPLOS funds in doing that upgrade to the infrastructure. So that's the main thing. The other thing is selecting the right equipment to go out there and help us maintain it.
And in the cab, we're doing something similar, but one of the things that we utilize is our preventive maintenance plan, because we're out there regularly looking at the equipment. And when you're getting those extra looks, it gives you an opportunity to determine if you think it can go another 6 months or another year, or if you need to take it out of operation. And then we have one bench technician on staff that, you know, we'll bring it out of service, we'll patch it up, repair it, and we'll put it back in service. So that helps us out a lot.
Yeah, and one of the Gwinnett County has a program to replace the LEDs on a regular basis. And one of the things that's come out of our recent exercise is, with the new requirement for backplates and the reflective tape that goes along with that, LEDs have a warranty at 5 years and a reasonable lifespan at 7. The warranty of the fluorescence on that reflective back tape is 7 years. So if we're going to be replacing the lamps at about 7 years, and we're going to have to replace the back plates at about 7, doing a full head replacement like Clayton does makes a lot of sense. To, especially if there's a number of signal heads that got a lifespan of about 10 years, it makes sense to just go ahead and replace everything all at one time. And so that's definitely something that we're looking at rolling into practice.
Okay, we're getting towards the end of this. I just wanted to kind of bring your attention forward, and you've kind of all voiced the challenges of maintaining what you have. How then do you look at the AV CV that's upcoming, and the additional amount of communications, the extra hardware, the new skill sets of programming these devices? Do y'all have any kind of plans for the future, trying to be proactive, looking ahead to prepare for the onset of the autonomous and connected future?
One thing.
Go ahead, Peggy.
Thank you. I was just going to say, one of the things that the CAP is looking to do is we need to do a self-assessment just to see, where we are on all of our systems, to see where we are, to see what we're going to need to do, because we don't have any capital improvement projects on the horizon or capital improvement funds on the horizon. So we need to kind of do a self-assessment to see where we are, see what we're going to need in the future, because with our budgeting process, we need to know last year what we're going to need in the next couple of years. So that's what we know that we have to do, is some type of a self-assessment.
One of the things that we've looked at as far as the CV is communications, trying to get as much communication as we can. If you look at we've got a project out right now for bid. If you look at the signal specs in there, you'll see that we have modified to include more connection ports on our field switches, because we don't know what's going to be out there, what needs to be home run back to TCC. So we've upped that a little bit on our end to try to preempt that. We've also made it our standard to put in the 4-door cabinets with the UPSs to provide enough room wherever we have it out there on the side of the road for those devices. That's the biggest thing, is trying to anticipate it is difficult, but if you can do simple things now, hopefully it'll pay off in the future.
Yeah, the communications background is critical in getting that up and getting that maintained. One of the things that we've had to our advantage is the communications backbone has advanced enough, in the last 20 years that when we get to the life cycle, we're also at a technology replacement cycle. So we replace copper with multi-mode, and we're replacing multi-mode with single mode. We do need to be looking forward to when all of our single mode systems are going to start aging out, when they start getting brittle, when it's time to replace those, because we're going to start seeing problems at that age span, because I'm not seeing something in the lifespan of that fiber. I'm not seeing something coming in and replacing that. With the connected vehicle devices, I think we will. I think we're going to see the next generation is going to come soon enough that any devices we're putting up to talk to CV and AV, that those will get replaced. But that communications backbone is going to be key.
All right. Well, here's your chance. Y'all have the podium. We got a question from someone here, what can designers and suppliers do to help jurisdictions with their operations and maintenance?
Designers need to understand what it takes to maintain. I think I've said for many years that any designer in the roadway field needs to be a construction inspector for about a year before he tries to be a designer. I think anybody trying to design a traffic signal needs to come out there and see what it takes to do the maintenance. One simple thing I've been trying to get folks to look at is when you put a left turn pocket and a left turn phase on a multi-lane roadway with a median, put the loop for the left turn back to the median so you don't have to close 2 or 3 lanes of traffic just to put a signal loop across the 3 or 4 lanes that are out there. Simple things can make a big difference on maintaining the signals.
Yeah, the way that I had it told to me, reinforcing what Keith said, is, you know, don't trust an engineer that doesn't have a pair of dirty boots somewhere. You know, I love Street View. It has done amazing things for efficiency, but that can't be the end of what we do. Field visit is critical, and I love the idea of having, you know, recommending everybody spend a year in construction inspection. And, you know, as far as maintenance, or as far as vendors go, one of the yeah, I talked a little bit about the signal head example. Making sure that preventative maintenance cycles and things that are recommended as part of, you know, the user's manual are reasonable. For example, lead acid battery systems, battery backup systems. The recommended preventative maintenance cycle in the manual is no less than 3 times a year. If I have a technician who spends 2 hours per battery backup system, and they've got to go out there 3 times a year, it's I ran the numbers at 320 signals with a lead acid battery backup system. That's a full-time job, just going out, checking to make sure that the BBS is working, and making sure that you know, your connections are good. And that's one subsystem of the whole thing. I'm not sure that that's a realistic, well, it's not a realistic level of maintenance cycle, because I know we do PMs on our BBSs once a year. We can't dedicate a person full time to, you know, just do that.
All right. Well, I appreciate all that. I think we're about to the end of our time, and I really want to thank Peggy and Alex and Keith for being here. I want to thank Maldonado Burkett for sponsoring this, and I hope some of y'all learned something. Get out there and watch a signal get built, and go out and watch one get put back up again after it gets knocked down. That would probably be a very, very worthwhile activity if you have a chance.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.